Hey there, welcome back to the channel. You don't need enemies to lose in life. Sometimes it's the silent habits, the ones you don't question, that quietly sabotage everything. Not all destruction is loud. Some of the deadliest habits creep in softly. You scroll too long. You say yes too often. You bury your instincts. And before you know it, you're drifting through life with no direction, no fire, and no control. Most people don't collapse because of one massive mistake. They fall from 1,000 tiny cuts they never saw coming. This video is your wake-up call. We're breaking down 9 silent habits that are destroying you every single day. These aren't just bad habits. They're character killers. They weaken your mind, drain your spirit, and make you forget who you are. And the worst part? You might not even know they're there. But the Stoics knew. Seneca warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Marcus Aurelius demanded, "If it is not right, do not do it." These ancient warriors didn't just teach philosophy, they lived a code. And today, we're going to sharpen that code into modern armor. This video is more than advice. It's training. You'll learn how to spot what's silently destroying you. You'll learn how to kill those patterns before they kill your potential. And you'll walk away with the mindset to protect your energy, your time, and your power. If you're done living like a victim of your own routines, hit that like button. Comment below which habit punches you in the gut, and subscribe to the channel, because every week we drop straight fire to help you rise stronger, think clearer, and master your emotions like a true Stoic. Let's go in. Let's go deep. Let's expose what's been breaking you and fix it from the inside out. Number 1, overthinking instead of acting. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Let your intent be clear." Let that sink in. Let your intent be clear. Because overthinking isn't clarity. It's chaos dressed up as caution. You think you're being smart by analyzing every outcome, every possibility, every angle. But the truth is, you're stalling. You're building castles in your mind and calling it preparation. But it's just fear wearing a mask. Overthinking is a form of self-sabotage that hides behind good intentions. You convince yourself you're not ready. You tell yourself you're just being careful. But really, you're avoiding the one thing that could change everything: action. Here's the hard truth. Overthinking is cowardice in disguise, because it's safer to sit in your head than to step into the world and risk failure. But listen, you don't grow in your mind, you grow in motion. The Stoics understood this. They didn't sit around worrying. They moved, they acted, they lived by principle, not by paralysis. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And nothing wastes your life faster than indecision, fueled by overthinking. Every moment you sit still out of fear is a moment your potential rots. You want clarity? You want strength? Then stop waiting for the perfect plan and make a powerful move. Here's a shift that will change your life. Don't wait for confidence. Build it through action. Every time you take the leap, no matter how messy, you prove to yourself that you're capable. You teach your brain that you're not a prisoner of doubt. Want to build an unshakable mindset? Then start choosing movement over mental loops. Stop trying to get it perfect and just get it going. So, next time your mind starts spinning with what ifs, interrupt the pattern. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to move forward? Then do it, without apology, without delay. Because clarity doesn't come before action, it comes from it. Overthinking is the slow death of greatness. Action is your antidote. This habit right here, it's one of the biggest destroyers. But now you see it. Now you own it. Let's move on to the next one and keep sharpening your edge. Coming up, the habit of passive complaining and how it drains your power without you even noticing. Number 2, seeking validation from the world. Seneca said, "How long will you wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That question should hit you like a bolt of lightning, because if you're still chasing approval from others, you're not living, you're performing. Likes, comments, praise, applause. That's not power. That's a leash. Every time you pause to ask, what will they think? You chain your worth to someone else's opinion. You let your confidence become conditional. You let your identity become a performance. And that's the fastest way to lose yourself. Validation is a quiet addiction. It starts small. A compliment here, a like there. But then, without realizing it, you start needing it, craving it. You start adjusting your behavior just to get that next hit of approval. And slowly, you stop living by your own values. You start living by everyone else's. Here's the brutal truth. The more you need validation, the more you'll betray yourself, because you'll do things not because they're right, but because they're popular. You'll speak not because it's your truth, but because it's what people want to hear. And that's how you lose your power. Bit by bit, applause by applause. But the Stoic doesn't live that way. A Stoic doesn't ask, do they approve? A Stoic asks, is it right? That's the standard. That's the code. Marcus Aurelius didn't write Meditations for followers. He wrote it for himself. Epictetus didn't teach for fame. He taught to free minds from slavery, mental, emotional, and societal. If you want real confidence, build your own standards. Don't wait to be crowned. Declare yourself worthy. Set the bar. Approve of yourself. Because when your validation comes from within, you become unshakable. And here's the best part. When you stop chasing validation, you start attracting respect. Real recognize real. People will feel your strength, not your neediness, and they'll either rise to meet you or get out of your way. So ask yourself right now, are you living to impress, or are you living to express? Are you making decisions for your legacy or for likes? The moment you stop needing the world's applause, you become unstoppable. Not because people finally accept you, but because you finally accepted yourself. Next up, the habit of passive complaining and how it poisons your power from the inside out. Number 3, avoiding discomfort. Epictetus said, difficulties are things that show a person who they are. That's not just a quote, it's a mirror. Because the truth is, your relationship with discomfort defines your destiny. And if you're always reaching for the easy way out, you're not escaping pain. You're rejecting the path that would have made you unstoppable. Every time you hit snooze instead of rising early, every time you skip the workout because it's cold outside, every time you stay silent when the truth is burning in your chest, you're choosing weakness disguised as relief. You're not just avoiding hardship, you're building a habit of retreat, a habit of softness. And over time, those choices compound into a life of untapped potential. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. Pain doesn't break you, it reveals you. Pressure doesn't destroy, it forges. Think about it. Muscles grow under resistance. Diamonds form under pressure. Warriors are made in fire, not in safety. So why would your soul grow in silence, in ease, in comfort? The Stoics understood this. They didn't pray for the path to be easier. They trained to be stronger. They knew that the battlefield of discomfort was where courage, grit, and purpose were born. Marcus Aurelius didn't shrink from suffering. He used it. He turned personal loss, war, and disease into fuel for wisdom. That's not luck. That's preparation. That's power. You want to lead? Then lean into the hard. You want to be unbreakable? Then embrace the resistance. Because the world doesn't respect the one who avoids the storm. It respects the one who walks into it and refuses to fall. So next time you face something uncomfortable, whether it's a challenge, a decision, a moment of fear, don't run. Step in, step up, step through. That's where greatness lives, and that's where you belong. Coming up, the habit of passive complaining and how it poisons your power from the inside out. Number 4, neglecting daily discipline. Marcus Aurelius journaled daily. Epictetus trained his mind like an athlete. But you wake up and scroll. You reach for your phone before you reach for your purpose. You move through the day, reacting instead of leading, distracted, drifting, wasting your most valuable asset, time. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about having structure. It's the ritual of returning again and again to what matters. Because when life pulls you in 100 directions, discipline is the anchor that holds you in place. The truth? Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from doing what you must. Chaos isn't liberating. It's suffocating. Structure sets you free. Without discipline, your thoughts run wild, your emotions spiral, and your life becomes a storm without a compass. But with discipline, you find peace, power, presence. Discipline sharpens the mind, strengthens the body, and builds the soul. Want mental clarity? Train your body. Sweat daily. Push yourself physically, because discipline in the gym becomes discipline in the mind. Want emotional strength? Control your habits. Don't let your phone, your cravings, or your impulses lead the day. Lead them. Want confidence? Keep promises to yourself. That's where real self-respect comes from. Not from the words you speak, but from the actions you repeat. Every day is a vote. Every routine is a message to your subconscious. This is who I am. If you train yourself to show up, no matter how you feel, you'll become the kind of person who can't be shaken by feelings. If you commit to daily structure, movement, stillness, learning, reflection, you'll cultivate a mindset that's unbreakable. And in a world that glorifies ease, your discipline will be rare, respected, feared. The Stoics knew this. Marcus didn't write those meditations for others. He wrote them for himself, to stay aligned. Seneca didn't preach discipline because it sounded nice. He lived it. He knew that to master life, you must first master your time, your energy, your focus. Your discipline is your destiny. Neglect it, and you drift. Embrace it, and you rise. Because when your days have structure, your life has meaning. When your mornings have rituals, your purpose has roots. And when your actions are aligned with your values, you don't just talk power, you walk it. Next, the trap of comparison and how it silently poisons your peace, power, and purpose. Number 5, numbing instead of feeling. Seneca warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality, but instead of facing pain, most people run. They numb, they distract, they reach for food when they feel empty. They scroll endlessly when they're anxious. They pour another drink when life feels heavy. They bury their emotions under temporary pleasure and call it coping. But numbing doesn't heal pain. It hides it. It turns short-term relief into long-term suffering. Here's what they don't tell you. Every time you escape a feeling, you give it more power. You teach your mind, this is too much for me. And over time, your emotional strength dissolves. You feel less, but you suffer more. You smile more, but you're alive less. You function, but you're not free. The Stoics didn't run from pain. They didn't distract themselves from discomfort. They stood in it. They examined it. They asked, what is this emotion trying to teach me? Anger, fear, sadness. These aren't enemies. They're messengers. They show you what you value. They reveal your wounds. They point to what needs healing, what needs changing, what needs strengthening. You can't master yourself if you keep hiding from yourself. If you want power, stop escaping. Start observing. Sit with the emotion. Let it rise. Let it speak. Then respond, not with panic, not with avoidance, but with clarity. Silence the noise. Turn off the distractions. Breathe through the storm. Feel the discomfort fully, without judgment. Because when you do, something changes. You stop being a slave to emotion and start becoming its master. You learn to feel deeply without drowning. You learn to suffer without breaking. Marcus Aurelius felt pain. He lost children, battled illness, fought wars. But he didn't escape into numbness. He wrote. He reflected. He used his pain to carve wisdom into his soul. That's not weakness. That's real power. This world will offer you 100 ways to numb. It will sell you comfort, distraction, pleasure. But if you want to lead yourself and others, you have to say no. You have to feel. Not because it's easy, but because it's real. And nothing real is ever lost. Feel the weight, then lift it. Feel the fire, then walk through it. Feel the fear, then do it anyway. Because emotional strength isn't about avoiding pain, it's about using it. Next, the trap of comparison and how it robs you of peace, power, and presence. Number 6, comparing yourself to others. Marcus Aurelius said, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That's the sickness of comparison. You look left, you look right. You scroll and scroll, feeding your mind highlight reels while starving your own self-worth. Comparison is a slow poison. It doesn't strike with a sword, it corrodes from the inside. One glance turns into envy. One scroll turns into self-doubt. And before you know it, you've traded your mission for someone else's metrics. You weren't born to be a copy. You weren't meant to measure yourself against timelines, titles, or followers. You were built for something deeper, something original. But comparison strips you of that. It tells you, you're not enough. It robs your peace and replaces it with insecurity. It convinces you to chase validation over values. But here's what the Stoics knew. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. Your only standard is your virtue, your courage, your discipline, your integrity. That's where real power is. Seneca didn't compare himself to Roman senators with more wealth or status. He measured himself by his ability to live with wisdom. Epictetus didn't envy kings. He focused on mastering himself. That's the Stoic path. So, next time you catch yourself watching someone else's life like it's more important than your own, stop. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow or just making me feel smaller? Then shift. Double down on your craft. Build your strength. Deepen your character. Because the truth is, no one is you. No one can walk your path. No one can live your purpose. And the moment you stop comparing is the moment you start creating. Comparison is noise. Focus is freedom. And freedom, that's what Stoics fight for. Next, the habit of perfectionism and how it paralyzes your potential while pretending to protect your standards. Number 7, saying yes to everything. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values, you're not being polite. You're betraying yourself. You abandon your integrity for approval. You dilute your purpose for temporary peace. You smile, nod, agree, while your soul whispers, "This isn't who I am." That's not kindness. That's fear wearing a mask. People-pleasing is a silent poison. It looks like generosity, but it's rooted in insecurity. You think you're keeping the peace, but inside, you're building quiet resentment. You say yes when you want to say no. You stretch your energy thin, trying to be everything to everyone. And in the process, you become almost nothing to yourself. The Stoics didn't bend to every request. They lived by principle, not pressure. They understood the power of a clear, disciplined no. No to drama. No to distractions. No to anything that drains without purpose. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. He wasn't driven by people's expectations. He was guided by his own clarity. If it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. That was his compass, and it should be yours. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to your mission, yes to your focus, yes to your strength, yes to your peace. You can't pour into your future if you're constantly leaking energy into obligations that don't align. Protect your time like it's sacred, because it is. Guard your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. You don't owe anyone constant access. You don't need to justify your boundaries, and you don't need to apologize for protecting your purpose. The most powerful person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who knows what they stand for and refuses to stand anywhere else. So, the next time someone asks something of you that doesn't align with your values or vision, pause, breathe, and remember, a strong no is not rejection. It's direction. Say yes to less, so you can give your all to what truly matters. Coming up, the illusion of control and how surrendering what you can't control sets you free. Number 8, living without reflection. Epictetus told his students to examine their actions daily. Why? Because without reflection, you drift. You fall into patterns, routines, and reactions that slowly erode your potential. Unexamined habits never change. They calcify. And if you're not actively shaping your life, your past will shape it for you. Every day you live without review is a day of unconscious repetition. The same thoughts, the same mistakes, the same emotional triggers. You're not progressing, you're looping. You're mistaking movement for mastery. But motion without awareness is just a distraction. If you don't review your day, you repeat your mistakes. Period. Reflection builds awareness. Awareness builds change. That's how the Stoics built strength, not in bursts of inspiration, but in the quiet consistency of self-examination. They didn't just react to life, they responded with clarity. They knew who they were because they checked in with themselves constantly. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the most powerful empire on earth, journaled his thoughts, his failures, his fears, every single day. Why? Because without reflection, even the strongest man becomes lost. Every night, ask yourself, did I lead today? Did I honor my values or betray them? Where was I weak? Where was I strong? What needs to be adjusted tomorrow? That 5-minute audit. It's not optional. It's essential. It's the daily discipline that separates those who evolve from those who just exist. Because you can't grow what you don't track. You can't master what you ignore. And you will never become who you were meant to be by avoiding who you are today. Check yourself daily. Not out of guilt, but out of greatness. Not because you're failing, but because you refuse to. Coming up, the final trap. the illusion of control, and how Stoics reclaim power by surrendering what they were never meant to hold. Number 9. Not having a clear mission. The most dangerous habit isn't failure, it's drifting. You wake up, scroll, work, distract, repeat. But you don't know why. You chase comfort. You avoid discomfort. You stay busy, but empty. Because without a mission, life feels flat. You're not moving forward. You're just moving. A Stoic doesn't live that way. A Stoic lives with intention. They know who they are. They know what they stand for. And they aim their actions at a single point: their mission. Your mission is your compass. It's what makes the pain worth enduring. It's what turns hardship into honor. Without it, every challenge feels like punishment. With it, every challenge becomes fuel. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, wars, betrayal, but he didn't collapse. Why? Because he anchored himself to a deeper purpose: to live with virtue, lead with justice, and serve something bigger than himself. That gave his suffering meaning. That made him unstoppable. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? Who do I want to become? What do I want to build, protect, or change? And once you find that answer, write it down. Let it become your filter. Every decision, every habit, every word. If it aligns, go all in. If it doesn't, walk away. Your mission doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be clear. Because clarity kills confusion. Purpose kills procrastination. And when you have a mission, even your lowest days hold value. Don't drift. Don't wander. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Define your mission. Then live like it matters. Because it does. Coming up, the hidden cost of avoiding silence, and why stillness is your most powerful weapon. Most people aren't crushed by tragedy. They're slowly broken by routine. Not by one big failure, but by the quiet, invisible habits they refuse to face. The mindless scrolling, the skipped discipline, the silent self-betrayal. But not you. Not anymore. Now you see it. The truth, the traps, the habits that weaken you. And you're not going to tolerate them another day. You're going to cut the noise, burn the excuses, destroy everything that makes you soft. This is your line in the sand, your reset, your rise. If this video lit something in you, hit that like button like your future depends on it. Drop a comment with the one habit you're cutting today. Let the world know you're not here to coast, you're here to conquer. And make sure to subscribe to Stoicism Reborn. We drop fire every single week. Stoic wisdom, emotional mastery, mental warfare. Lead yourself, master your mind, rise in silence, because power isn't found. It's built, daily. And now, you know what to destroy. Your path is yours. Own every step.